Hey guys, it's Dr. Kyle Richmond. I'm here at Rebuilt Strength and Rehab. Today I'm going to run you through a quick 5-10 minute hip warm-up routine you can do prior to any sort of workout. So we're going to focus on just our hips, getting them warm, working through some flexibility and some mobility at the same time. So what we'll do is we'll start on our sides. We're going to do what's called a hip car. What I want you to do, laying on your side, you're going to bring that top leg up to here. We're from here going to go ahead and lift our leg off the ground, opening through our groin. When we get to the top, I want to rotate that foot behind me, coming all the way back down around. And then we're going to reverse that. Up, sweep that foot through, and back down. We're going to start back from there. We're going to do 3 on each side here. And I'll show you a different view of this after this set. But I want you to limit the amount of motion coming from your back. You should feel it all outside on that hip. Let's do one more. Open. All the way around, feel top / outside of your hip here. All the way back through. Good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. I'll show you an angle from here. So, what we're going to do is bring that foot up. We're going to open, come around, and back down. Touch those knees, open to the side. Sweep that foot down, around, and through. Back to our starting. We'll just go through that 3 times. Good. Up, up, up. Rotate through. And one more. Opening through our groin here as we rotate our foot around. Good. And remember, try to limit the amount of motion coming from your back. A lot of people want to roll to try to avoid using the hip. Good. So those are side-lying hip cars. Then we're going to go to a capsule car, so we're focusing on the internal and external rotation of our hip. So on our backs, leg up at 90 degrees. We're going to try to reach that foot across as far as we can, feeling our groin work. I'm going to push that all the way out to the side, feeling the outer hip work. We're just going to go back and forth. Good, make sure you're squeezing the inside of the groin here and the outside of the hip here. Let's go a couple on each hip. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other leg. Let's bring that leg up 90 degrees. Bring that foot across, feel it in the groin. Push all the way out, feel it in that hip. Just like on the sideline hip car, I don't want you to use your back to get this motion. You go as far as your hip allows you to. I also want to note you don't want to drive through any sort of pinching or pain. If you have any discomfort at any time during this, please pause the video and send me a message. And good. So now we're going to go into a little bit of a stretch. We're going to get in what's called our 90-90 position. I'm having my right leg in front 90 degrees. My back leg, my left leg behind me at 90 degrees. I'm going to take my hands and rotate over my back hip as I try to sink that left glute towards the ground. I should feel a good stretch in that outer part of my hip / deep kind of hip. And I want you to keep rotating your chest. Try to find intensity. It's like a 4 out of 10. Nothing crazy, something we can kind of sit here for 30 seconds to a minute. Now, how long I have people typically stretch for is around a 2-minute mark. So over time, you can get better at this stretch, be able to sit in it a little easier. So an important thing to note here is this is flexibility. This is stretching. This is just making our tissues handle a passive range of motion. Because what I want to go into next now is we're going to go into a lift off with this back leg. So it's internal rotation, lift off. For everyone, we're going to start on our elbow, keeping our knee pressed to the ground. We're going to try to raise our heel and foot off the ground, slowly come back down. Go up, slowly back down. You should feel your outer hip working. What I don't want to see is we're using the whole upper body to get more motion. Upper body, back. I want to keep everything stable. I can keep my hand on my hip here. Lift, slowly lower. Let's do a couple more here. I don't want to see that foot just drop back down the ground. Control, back down. Up, and back down. So we're going to stay in this position. I'm going to rotate so you can see this. Now we're going to focus on the front leg. We're going to try to drive that knee into the ground as we lift the foot up and slowly come back down. Lift up, slowly come back down. This is our external rotation of our front leg. Same principles apply. I don't want to use my back to lean. I don't also want to see both come off the ground. That's a different movement. I want to try to keep the knee and the thigh as much as I can on the ground as I lift. Let's do a couple more here. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Up. Good. One more. And we're going to switch sides. So now I'm going to put my left leg in front of me at 90 degrees, my back leg behind me at 90 degrees, my right. I'm going to rotate over my right leg, sinking that right hip or that right glute towards the ground. And just a reminder again, about a 4 out of 10 intensity. Nothing where I'm like fighting to hold this stretch. It'd just be something we can, easily breathe, relax into. We'll start with about 30 seconds today. And like I said, ideally I'd like to have you up to, a 2-minute stretch if you were really trying to gain more passive range of motion. This is just to get you used to being in an internally rotated position. So let's drop to our left elbow now, keeping that knee pressed against the ground. I want to lift that foot up, slowly come back down. Lift the foot up, slowly back down. Try to avoid rocking from the hips, or I should say the low back. Lift, come back down. If some of you feel like this is way too easy, I can have you come up to the hands. And now same thing, we're lifting, slowly coming back down. This is harder and you're going to get less range of motion, which is totally fine. But for the rest of us, staying on the elbow is probably going to be plenty. Let's go 2 more. Slow on that way down. Good. Staying in that position, we're going to do the same thing on our left leg that we did on the other side. It's going to be the external rotation. So knee stays down. I lift, slowly come back down. Now, if this is too hard, I want to tell you to lay on your side. Do the same thing. You should feel groin working really hard here. Lift and come back down. So easiest, slightly harder. Hardest would be staying up over it and trying to lift off the ground. For most of us, I think elbow is plenty. And it doesn't have to be a ton of range of motion. We're just getting some motion here in our hips. One more. And back down. We're going to finish what we started with. We're just going to do 2 hip cars on each side. So laying on our sides. Doesn't matter which side you start with first. We're going to bring that foot up. Open that groin to the ceiling. Rotate the foot around. And this should feel easier now that we've done a lot of hip rotation the last 5 minutes here. Just give me 2 good reps. Touch that ground. Open to the ceiling. Rotate. And open. And down. Just go 2 on our other side. So we're going to open that foot to the ceiling. Open through the groin, rotate through the hip, knees touch, come all the way back up, and around and down. Last one, rotate, open through the hip, and back to the ground. So that was about a 10-minute routine. You can spend more time on things you need more work on, but I would use that before a lot of my lower body days, or this could be a standalone mobility thing you do on your own. I'm going to try to put out more of this long form content. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below on this or shoot me a DM directly and I can kind of help you troubleshoot it.